Welcome to the GPS podcast. I'm Fareed Zakaria. This week, an exclusive interview with the Dalai Lama on Tibet's age-old struggle with China and whether there's any hope for resolution. Then on the GPS panel, will the Pakistani government be able to stop the Taliban? So let's get started. Thank you for joining us, sir. What do you think is could be Tibet's contribution to the world? You have sometimes spoken about how Tibetan culture could be an example for the world of how to be less violent, less conflictual. Do you really believe that there's a way to reduce the levels of violence and suffering in the world through a kind of inner search?
I don't think anybody still, I want violence. I don't think these people will say that. And then these people who involve, like Bin Laden, I don't think when he was child or his daily life start, he want now today more, I wish more violence, I don't think. Out of desperate, out of hatred, out of anger, out of frustration, violence took place. So therefore, violence not come from sky, or violence not come gun alone. Ultimately it leads with motivation, emotion. So unless we tackle emotion, destructive emotion, we cannot stop violence.
How do you tackle that?
Now here, the sense of concern of other being, other human being. On the basis, other beings also part of humanity. So the reality, see, we are all just one. So the very concept we and they, I feel the concept of they no longer relevant. We must consider whole 6 billion human beings part of we. And then whenever conflict, different interests come, firstly, we must recognize them also part of humanity. They also have every right to overcome suffering. So we must respect them. We must appreciate, we must respect their right. Then with that dialogue, talk. I think if we, right from the beginning, if we sit together with Bin Laden and listen his sort of grievance, I think things may be different. As a matter of fact, September 11th event happened. The 12th, next day, I wrote a letter to President Bush because I know Bush as a very nice person, as a person, regardless what his policy, but as a person, very nice. So I wrote a letter, expressed my condolence and my sort of sadness. Meantime, I also express now this problem. I wish handle this problem more non-violent way.
You said last November that you thought your model of leadership had failed, that you felt that you had failed as a leader of the Tibetan people. You've spoken of China having turned Tibet into a hell on earth. Why do you think you have failed? What leads you to see that you have failed?
I think I should say all my sort of responsibility, spiritual as well as some other, I hope not complete fail. But as far as our dialogue with the Chinese government is concerned, there also is some aspect. One aspect is made clear to the Chinese people, we are not seeking separation. We are very much willing or committed remain within the People's Republic of China. That's our own interest. Economy development is concerned, is our sort of interest, remain more powerful nation and economically now rapidly developing. Provided we also have some unique cultural heritage including our unique language. So every Tibetan loves these things. And also, I think from a wider perspective, I think a Tibetan cultural heritage is compassionate cultural heritage, peaceful cultural heritage. It is something useful on this planet, where a lot of sort of violence and too much sort of competitions or too much sort of hatred, these things, is a Tibetan cultural heritage. I think very, very, of course, our cultural heritage mainly come from India, based on Buddhism. So that I really feel not only myself, but also many of our friends also appreciate Tibetan peaceful cultural heritage. So that we must preserve that.
But
and long run, to the Chinese government also, I mean Chinese people also, I think Tibetan cultural heritage can serve them, bring some meaning of life. Now one aspect, my approach is bring better situation out of closer understanding with Chinese government inside Tibet. Now that aspect completely failed. So I admit it. It is my sort of moral responsibility to admit failure.
you call it what is going on inside Tibet today a cultural genocide.
Yes, some kind of cultural genocide, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Now problem is some of those Chinese communist hardliners the unique Tibetan cultural heritage and Tibetan spirit, they see that's the source of threat of separation from mainland China.
You have been in negotiations off and on with the Chinese government. Are those negotiations still going on?
No.
Why have they ended?
Now only thing is the Chinese government insists there is no problem. In fact, the Tibetan people are very, very happy. Now, if that is the case, then our view is wrong. I made clear when time comes, our return with certain degree of freedom, that means autonomy, then we will return, and then all Dalai Lama's legitimate authority handed over to local government.
Through a democratic process.
That government immediately, I don't know. That is up to Chinese government. The totalitarian regime, one part, the democratic sort of practice, I think difficult. But hopefully, even China as a whole, I always believe, now future of China, future of over billion human beings' well-being, I think very much related with open society, rule of law, transparent. That's everybody's interest. The Chinese people themselves also want that. So Wu Jintao's sort of emphasis or slogan, harmonious society, it's very good. So harmony, very much related with trust. Trust and fear cannot go together. So long Tibetan people there, according to our information, more than